Angle into first. Watch out.
Look at this. Upton pops it up. Left side, Elvis Andrus is backpedaling. He is under it. He puts it away. The Texas Rangers have won a postseason series.
The Texas Rangers are American League champions.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you on a Thursday night. It is getting closer and closer to spring training, drawing nearer and nearer. Pitchers and catchers reporting here within the next couple of weeks. And the Rangers may be looking to fill out their roster. They signed another pitcher, Austin Gomber, lefty, minor league deal, spring training invite. Is a bat next? Are we done? We got the whole team figured out. We're going to talk about it. We'll tell you what we know. And we'll, of course, take all of your comments and questions along the way. Good to see all of y'all. Hope you're having a good week so far. We got a great show ahead of you. MacKenzie Gore with his first press conference as a member of the Texas Rangers today. Able to catch it on the lunch break. We'll give you the Cliff Notes version of it. And look, just want to say a special thank you to all y'all for hanging during this offseason. Baseball offseason can get a little slow, but you know what? Y'all have been great, and it's been fun talking ball with you. Can't wait to be talking about real games, though. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. You can only do so much hot stove before it starts running a little bit thin, a little bit dry. Cannot wait for games to get going, even if it's just spring training games, man. We'll be locked in. And we'll be bringing you guys the best Rangers coverage we can for our third season in a row. Here we go. All right. MacKenzie Gore, press conference today. I cannot say I really took away a whole lot from the conference beyond what I already knew. Look, a lot of the basic, simple questions that always get asked. Just the stuff that just plays right into a lot of the player speak, coach speak. But bottom line, MacKenzie Gore is excited to be a member of the Rangers. He talked about being on the same staff as Nate Eovaldi, Jacob deGrom, learning from those guys. Talked a little bit about Pat Corbin. Some of you may have known Patrick Corbin and MacKenzie Gore pitched on the same Nats team a couple of years ago. Gore, of course, was traded from the Padres to the Nats in the Juan Soto deal, and now traded again to the Rangers. I think that the Rangers have a plan for MacKenzie. They were very hush-hush on what the plan is in terms of tweaks, in terms of things that they look forward to adjusting. Obviously, they're getting a really good pitcher as is. I think MacKenzie Gore, the stuff, some of the best, most elite swing and miss stuff in the game. I think you've got a lot of trolls and haters kind of trying to knock MacKenzie Gore down a few pegs. This is one of the best swing and miss guys in the game. I mean, you look at the numbers, you look at the Baseball Savant page. This guy's elite when it comes to the swing and miss, and that is going to be awesome to watch next year. But what plagued MacKenzie Gore, we talked about this on the show last week, was a little susceptible to the fly ball, to the extra base hit. And in a place like Globe Life Field, which is played more like a pitcher's part in recent memory, I think you are going to see the numbers improve. Playing behind a better defense will help as well. And so MacKenzie Gore going to be hopefully in a couple of weeks making his debut, even if it's not the official regular season one for the Rangers in Surprise. And there's a number of guys that I think a lot of Rangers fans are going to be on the lookout for. They announced several more names for spring training invites. Rangers got quite a crew of non-roster invites that are going to be along in Arizona trying to show out. Of course, Sebastian Walcott will be in Arizona. They announced Cam Cauley is going to be in Arizona for spring training. I think that's a big move. Some of you guys may know that, Cody Freeman came on the show a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him, hey, who's one guy? I asked Cody Freeman, rookie for the Rangers, who's one guy that you think is going a little bit under the radar right now, is not being talked about enough in the minor league system? Because, of course, we got Walcott, you got Caden Scarborough that's taken a lot of press and a lot of coverage. And then, you've got a few other guys in the mix, but Cody shouted out Cam Cauley, and he said this guy's a gamer. He said that Cam reminds him a lot of himself, and Cam Cauley is going to be getting an opportunity to show off his skills in Surprise. I'm excited to see that. Should be a really interesting camp. You've got a couple other guys, Robbie Alstrom, Peyton Gray, those two pitchers who had really good years last year in Round Rock are going to be there too. You've got a few other guys, Jonah Bride and other signings that were made towards the beginning of the offseason. There are definitely some spots to be made, some spots to be had here. Rangers especially really looking to fill out their bullpen. I think there is going to be an opportunity for some of these young guys to potentially make their mark if they have a good spring and a good camp. We're going to keep on going. Yes, Alejandro Osuna, definitely, you guys know, big Osuna fan. I think that the Winter League stuff has gone very well for him. I know just noted that as well. Really appreciate the comment. Good to see you. I think he had probably the best spring training last year, if you remember. I know that we all don't keep up with all the spring training stats, but Alejandro Osuna had probably one of the most notable camps in 2025. And it was a big reason why he made his major league debut in 2025. I believe he had the most hits out of all Rangers in spring training. Impressive stuff. Who's that going to be this year? Maybe it's a Cam Cauley type. This is why spring training is exciting. You do have the opportunity to really make an impact. Think back to Wyatt Langford in 2024, right? Wyatt crushed it, literally and figuratively, in spring training in 2024 and really left the Rangers no choice but to include him on the 40-man and the opening 26-man active roster. And the rest is history. This is absolutely a time where guys can make their mark, and I am so excited for it here in about a week and a half? It's going to be good. Trent, what's up, man? Do I think the rotation in Penn will miss Maddox, or do they continue to pitch really well? Trent, I think that this is a great question. I really do believe in Teagues, and I believe as a system, right? It's not just Mike Maddox, right? You've got a number of different pitching-related coaches. You've got a pitching coordinator. That's Dave Bush. You've got a lot of guys that are making their mark and inputting into what the pitchers are doing at the major league level. And so Mike Maddox, obviously, I don't think he's just a talk piece. I don't think he's just a mouthpiece. I think that he added a lot of depth and a lot of positive ways to the Rangers in 2025. Clearly, you had the best ERA in baseball, a number of other different accolades. I think they're going to be okay. I think that you are going to see Teague step up. He is going to really, really have a tough time repeating what the Rangers did last year. So I think by nature of that, you're going to see some regression. I don't think that the Rangers are going to be as good as they were in 2025. I think they're still going to be really, really good. But CY actually put it really well in the conference today. I don't know if chasing the number one spot, the best rotation in baseball is really what the team needs to be focused on. I think that they could be elite. They can be really, really good and focus on being a more well-rounded squad. It was kind of nice to hear that from him. We'll see if it actually happens. But I do think the Rangers will still be top 5. I don't know if they're going to be number 1. So from that perspective, Trent, I do think you're going to see a little bit of regression. Some people get really upset when I say that, by the way. I said that a couple of times this offseason, just, going back and forth with people on X, things like that. I know that we have a lot of pride in our Rangers, myself included. I just think following up the best ERA in baseball is going to be really, really difficult. So I would say it's still going to be a great squad, still going to be a lot of elite performances this year from a pitching perspective. But I just feel like because of the fact that it was number 1, you're probably going to see a little bit of regression. Keep going. Appreciate you guys. Drop a comment. Let me know what's on your mind, what you want to talk about. Gore going to be fine. Oh, yeah. Big believer in Gore. Josh, what's up, man? What's the back end of our rotation now, Leiter and Rocker? Josh, a lot of people are thinking it is going to be Lats. And look, Jerry, appreciate this comment as well, man. Good to see you. Same question, similar question on YouTube. I'm a big fan of Lats for right now. I think Kumar Rocker, the end of his 2025 was a little bit volatile. I think that he clearly has the stuff to be one of the better pitchers in our rotation. I think just managing that stuff, refining it, and hopefully Kumar Rocker takes a Jack Leiter-esque step in 2026. I mean, we remember coming into 2025, Jack Leiter had a lot of question marks. A lot of people were unsure of what Jack was going to turn in terms of his performance in 2025. I think a lot of people felt encouraged by what he put forth last season. I think sometimes we get a little bit frustrated. We get a little bit impatient with guys. I could say and fully admit that I feel like I was that way with Jack Leiter. I feel like I got a little impatient with him. And so with Rocker, I'm trying to preach patience. I do think that he is going to be a great arm for us down the road. I just don't think coming out the gate, he's going to be that number 5 guy. I mean, look, you can have a great spring and what I'm saying absolutely goes to crap, but I do think that it's going to probably be Latz's job to lose, and I'd be okay seeing Latz. I mean, you might remember the game that stands out to me last year. Latz goes toe-to-toe with Tarek Skubal on Sunday Night Baseball. That was a fill-in spot, I believe, for Evaldi. I think Evo was supposed to pitch that Sunday Night Baseball game. It was Cody Freeman's Major League debut. Latz had to get the spot start there because of the injury, and he pretty much went toe-to-toe with Tarek Skubal. And I feel like Latz turned in a lot of those performances where he gave you 5-6 innings, 2 earned runs. That felt like a very typical performance from Latz. Not that he didn't struggle here and there, but I really am encouraged by what I saw from Jacob Latz in 25 after a little bit of an up and down 24, right? He had some struggles in the bullpen and, had some send downs and dealt with some injuries too. I think Rocker is a part of the future, but I don't know that it's 2026. Keep going. Let's see. Need 3 to 4 bullpen arms. I think the bullpen arms are mainly going to come from within at this point. I mean, look, you've already got some guys back there. You've got Corniel back there. You've got a number of different arms that have been on the major league team. You've got Mark Church. You've got a number of guys that are already right there and I think have a lot of potential. I think you're going to see those guys take over. I'm not sure the Rangers are going to be buying any more arms on the open market unless it is an Austin Gomber type. By the way, Rangers just signed him, pitched for the Rockies for the last several seasons, and not an easy place to pitch by any means. So I think you got to take the numbers with a bit of a grain of salt. But I do think the Rangers are going to look internal at this point, and I hope that they are able to have some guys step up and fill some of those roles. When you look at the bullpen right now, I think you've got some players, you've got some arms that can slot into some of those higher leverage situations. I don't think that it's perfect, but I do think at this point you're going to see Texas try and probably save a little bit of money instead of going out and getting another $4 or $5 million arm in free agency and try and fill those spots with guys that have shown promise and may be able to take that next step in 2026. Keep going. Cole Winn, JJ, I'm with you. By the way, great to see you, JJ. I'm with you on Cole Winn, brother. I do think that we are going to see Cole be in a versatile role. You got Junis back there as well. I could see Junis getting a number of opportunities late. I think Cole Winn is a guy that pitched outstanding really all throughout last year. I mean, yes, had a couple of hiccups here and there, got sent down to AAA. I feel like Cole is going to take another step as well, and I think he's a guy that you can use in the 7th inning in a high-pressure spot. I think he's a guy you could bring in the 8th inning in a high-pressure spot. I think there's going to be a couple of different guys that are kind of high-leverage catch-alls where you might not see them in the 8th inning every single time. They might come in the 6th inning with the bases loaded, trying to get you out of a jam and keep you in a ball game. I could absolutely see a number of our arms right now filling that kind of role. We keep going. Consistency for Cole Duck is going to be huge. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, Cole, I think the big struggles, a little bit of control, right? I think control was an issue with Cole Winn. Consistency, absolutely. But that's the story with a lot of these guys, right? Like, can you do it night in and night out? Or 9 times out of 10, can you have a solid outing? In the bullpen, there's so little margin for error, right? I always try to, temper it a little bit. These young guys coming up, I mean, look, you get thrown in the fire coming in out of the pen in some of these tight ball games. But at this point, I do think internal options are probably going to be what the Rangers ultimately fill. We'll look at the roster right now just to make sure I'm not overlooking anybody. On the fly, I do my best, but y'all know how it is. Sometimes a name slips you. So we'll take a look at the roster and see if I'm missing anybody, but that's where we're at right now. Definitely want to see Jock come back thinner and maybe a tweak in his swing. From what I've heard, he definitely did make it a priority to get the body at least a little bit more right in the offseason. I mean, they say that, and then eventually later on in the season, it goes back to normal. But I think that would probably be a welcome sight for a lot of Rangers fans. Here's the reality, though, with Jock and the body stuff. If Jock was hitting last year, nobody would care what the body type was, man. Nobody be concerned about Jock Peterson and where he's at in terms of fitness if the dude is raking, tearing the cover off the ball. But when you're hitting 1 something or below 1 at some points in this year, Jock Peterson was, yeah, that's an easy target. And I'm not getting on anybody. Don't take it that way. I mean, I'm guilty of the same train of thinking. It's like, man, if you shed a couple of pounds, maybe things would be clicking a little bit more. But we know in reality, there's some big boys in the league. They're not the pinnacle of fitness, but they sure can hit the cover off a baseball. I think Jock has just got to get the swing right. I do think, obviously getting in shape and stuff like that everybody focuses on that in the offseason. But if the swing can get back to what it was in 2024, that would be such a huge lift for this Rangers team. Incredible. Let's see. Me go ahead and make sure that we're not forgetting anybody as we go through the pitchers. Chris Martin obviously is a name that we didn't mention already. I do wonder, is he going to end up in that 9th inning spot with Junis and maybe a guy like Cole Winn in the mix for the 7th and 8th inning setup roles? That's kind of what I'm seeing right now. I know Chris Martin hasn't saved a lot of games in his career. He's been more of a setup guy, and I know the Rangers threw him in that role here and there in 2025. I mean, look, you've got Curvelo, you've got Corniel, you've got a number of dudes that could actually get the job done. I know Alexis Diaz is another guy that people are thinking might be a diamond in the rough for the closer role. I think the Rangers probably start more tried and true. Robert Garcia is another name you can throw in the mix. He's got some closing experience. I'd like to see them probably go, if he's healthy, with a guy like Martin over anybody else, and then maybe followed by Junis. I'm not a fan of throwing Alexis Diaz right into the fire of the 9th inning. Based on his season last year, I would rather go with some experience, go with the guy that's done it many, many times before, even if not in the 9th inning in a pressureful environment and pressureful situations. But the Rangers have options. There's no doubt about that. No doubt. Keeping Chapman would have been great. I think that in hindsight, you wish that the Rangers could have found a way to hang on to him. But when he left the Rangers, I think everybody that I talked to was pretty okay with it. Chap was tough. He was such a tough player because he could look so dynamic and just dominant, and then he could just totally lose control. And something clicked when he was in Boston, and he has had a really good couple of seasons. But when he was with Texas, it was like either lights out or floodlights just streaming into your house. Like, it was just not consistent enough. And I think that's why some Rangers fans were okay when he left. But looking back and looking at what he's done in Boston, it's hard not to be missing what he brought to the table a little bit. He always choked against the Astros. So true. Let's see. What else we got? See you opening day. Can't wait. Where in the lineup does Nimmo fit? Justin, you might be right. Marcus Semien obviously did some leadoff stuff. He also hit a little bit lower in the lineup. I think that Nimmo could easily be the leadoff hitter. I'm not sure Evan Carter is ready to do that based on what Evan Carter put forward last year, even the last 2 years. I do think Evan Carter is kind of a leadoff hitter of the future down the road, maybe in a couple of seasons. I think you'd love to maybe move Nimmo out of that spot. But I think for right now, yeah, I think it's got to be Nimmo in that leadoff role. Mason, I'm with you here. Hey, KV, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Mike, good to see you. Hey, if I missed a comment, by the way, sorry about that. I'll try and get back to it. Yeah, Mace, I'm with you. I think that they improve internally. I don't think that they're going to go out and get anybody else. I think they've got enough arms on the 40-man right now that could come up and make a difference, could make an impact. And we're not even counting guys like, Peyton Gray, Robbie Alstrom, guys that are going to get a spring training invite and very well might find their way with a really, really good spring onto the roster at some point. I'm there. Gio, good to see you, man. Go Rangers. Go Rangers. Yeah, Evan was really solid when he was healthy. I do think Evan as the leadoff hitter makes a lot of sense on paper. That being said, the paper hasn't necessarily shown up the last 2 seasons what you would expect out of him, that is. And injuries have kind of derailed that. But if Evan can stay healthy and get back to the guy, at least even somewhat close to the version that he was in 2023, that is a guy you want up at the top of the order. You're talking about a dude that has elite sprint speed, can cause havoc on the bases. You do want that kind of player up at the top of the order. And I'd love to see the Rangers be better base running this year. I'd love to see them be more active on the base pass. It does feel like everything coming out of Arlington is that they will be better on the base pass this year. Lord knows that they sure were allowing other teams to have a pretty easy time on the bases last season. And I don't know if it's going to get a whole lot better in 2026. Jansen is not so great when it comes to the pop time. He's going to give you a little bit of a better bat than Jonah Heim, but the pop time is not there. The numbers in terms of preventing stolen bases, it's not there for it's not there for Jansen. And it's not really there for Higgy either. Those are guys that are a little bit probably more pluses on the offensive side. I'm not saying they're terrible behind the dish, but just not guys known for their defensive prowess, right? So look, if you're going to be giving it up a little bit on the other side, you might as well be elite at it yourself. I am hoping the Rangers are more active on the base pass for sure. Keep going. Jonah Heim. Yeah. Jonah Heim, look, wish him nothing but the best. 2023 All-Star Game starter. Isn't that wild? I think about random stuff like this sometimes. I'm like, Jonah Heim was the 2023 All-Star Game starter, and now he's non-tendered. It just shows you how quickly things can turn, right? You've got top of the world, winning the World Series, starting in the All-Star Game, winning a Gold Glove, and you're non-tendered. It's the cruelness of the sport, the cruelty of the sport. And that goes for baseball, but it also goes for football, basketball, any professional sport. What have you done for me lately? And it's not 2023 anymore. And look, it was kind of interesting. Higgy was on Foul Territory on that podcast. Great podcast, by the way. I'm sure a lot of y'all are familiar. And he kind of alluded, Kyle Higashioka kind of alluded to the Rangers chasing 2023. And he noted that he hopes the club has a more progressive mindset this season, stops thinking about 23, and just is present in the here and now and what they could do to just get better right now instead of constantly kind of chasing that 2023 ghost So that would imply that maybe the past 2 years that was going on, right? You're thinking about the World Series, you're thinking about the championship, you're trying to get back and kind of chase that high, if you will. And it didn't work out so well for the Rangers, clearly. I don't think we need to get into all of it, but feels like maybe the mindset with Skip coming in the building, a little bit different. You're getting a fresh perspective here. Of course, Boch was the one who was responsible for that 2023 team from a managerial perspective. And having a new coach in the building, I think, is going to help with that progressive mindset that Kyle Higashioka was talking about on Foul Territory today. Janko is going to be fun to have. Absolutely. He probably will help with the stolen base department. That's what I would hope too. Absolutely. Mike, I think this is the plan. I think they're probably going to start Evan, middle to low in the order, maybe, number 7 spot. Maybe they're going to try the second leadoff hitter thing like they did with Leote for so long. Maybe they'll put him in the 9th spot and they'll do Carter, Nimmo, Seager. I think that's actually not a bad plan. The only thing about that is clearly you're limiting Carter's at bats a little bit that way. You're hitting 9th, just simple math. You're eventually not going to have as many at bats as everybody else. But I do think the strategy could be something to look into. You go EC, you go Nimmo, and then you go Seager, 9-1-2. I think that could be the plan right there. But if Evan Carter is sitting well, of course, you're going to see him move up in the order. Of course. I'll get to TikTok comments in a second. Appreciate y'all's patience. I'm trying to go back and forth as much as I can. Drop a comment, drop a question. We're just kind of going rapid fire. That's kind of the beautiful thing. During the season, we got to go through the game and break things down. And, in the offseason, we can kind of just kick back, take the comments, take the questions from you guys. I love it. I do think Gore, Mike, is the bona fide number 3. I don't see Leiter overtaking him unless Gore has just a really rough spring training and Leiter just knocks it out of the ballpark. I do think McKenzie's going to slot into that 3 spot. I could see maybe a little bit of variance as the season goes on, but I would be a little bit surprised if MacKenzie Gore is not number 3 coming out of spring training, which I think is okay. Like, I don't think Leiter should be disrespected in any way. I mean, Mike, let's be real. MacKenzie Gore's an all-star. I mean, this guy was an all-star in 2025. I know the numbers might not feel all-star-like, but this guy was just an all-star. I find it hard to believe that Leiter is going to usurp him from that number 3 role, but, anything can happen. But I do think it's going to be DeGrom, Evo, Gore. I mean, maybe Evo is the opening day guy. I think it's going to be DeGrom. I think it'll be DeGrom, Evo, and then Gore, and then Leiter, probably followed by Latz, if I had to guess. Starting lineup, I do think the starting lineup is getting crapped on a little bit. And look, I've been slightly negative about our lineup at times this offseason. It kind of ebbs and flows. I still would love to add a right-handed bat that can punish lefties. We're thinking about a guy like Miguel Andujar. We're thinking about other guys that possibly could fill that role as well. There's a couple other names out there, probably not as attractive as Andujar. I know Arise is still getting thrown out. Look, if they sign Arise, you're definitely not going to catch me on here being negative. I will take a 3-time batting title champ, but I do think Arise probably doesn't fit the needs as well as a guy that can crush lefties. Arise isn't terrible against lefties, but he's not elite. I do think Andujar would be a much better fit for what the Rangers need. However, I can see the arguments for Arise, and you surely wouldn't be catching me criticizing the move. I might say something like, I don't know how much more this pushes the Rangers forward, but I think adding a guy like Luis Arise is not a negative. I think a guy that puts the ball in play is going to hit for average. I think you need guys like that in the lineup. You can't have every guy in the lineup hitting 25 or 30 bombs and driving in 100. You need guys like Arise that put the ball in play and do so consistently, are not constant strikeout victims. There is definitely, I think, a vision there with Arise with what Skip Schumacher wants to bring to the table as well. A little more small ball, better situational hitting. That being said, I still go back to Andujar, I think, is the guy you would want the Rangers to bring in if you're really, truly focused on filling the holes that plagued them in 2025. All right, let me get to TikTok. Agree with the arms, but can we score? That is going to be the question. User 932 if you're still hanging out, for sure. What 300 batter we have on the... Exactly. I mean, look, that's the argument for Arise. You're bringing in a guy that is going to hit 300. I know that the power isn't there for Arise. I know he's not good defensively. I also think Arise is just good insurance, and I know that might seem weird when you're talking about a batting champ like Arise, but let's just say, God forbid, Jock Peterson struggles, and it is May, and the dude is hitting 200 even. It's nice to have a guy like Arise that you can throw in confidently to that DH spot, and at least you know you're getting something out of the designated hitter lineup, or hitter spot in the lineup. So I think Arise could do the same thing in other areas too. The Rangers are banking on a lot of rebounds, and that is what they did last year too, and it didn't work out so well. I think Arise is premium insurance for you if anybody in the lineup struggles. If you have any one of the guys that had a down year last year, Josh Young, and look, Josh Smith was really good at the beginning of 2025. I don't want to say Josh Smith had a down year last year, but the ending was not superb, right? There was a little bit of a second half fade there. And then you've got other guys that you can throw in there as well. Higgy had a nice little surge there in the second half in July on the road. He was just crushing it. And he didn't have a poor ending to the season. But I think even with a guy like Kyle Higashioka, you're hoping for maybe just a little bit more too. I think Arise would be premium insurance if one of these guys, more than one of these guys, does not end up bouncing back. We'll see what happens. Mike says, here's my issue with the Rise. Table setter, not an RBI machine. You'd need to hit high in the order, which pushes hitters, I think, are better overall down in the order. That's a fair point. I will say it again. It's not that I think Arise is the best fit for the Rangers. I don't think he's necessarily the best fit, but I think you'll take him and you won't be upset about it. I think on the outside looking in, we can definitely have the perspective Mike just shared. Like, hey, we've maybe got some other guys that might be more impactful in the lineup and would be better off hitting up higher. But Arise feels like the guy where they make the move and get him, and you say, I'll take a 3-time batting champ. Sounds all right. I think we can nitpick what they need more than what might be out there right now. But I do think at the end of the day, you get Luis Arise on the squad. There's always going to be somebody that whines and complains, but it won't be me. I think I'll say I can see where they're going with this. But I do think Miguel Andujar is probably a better fill at this point. It really doesn't seem like Arise has a great market, though, to Mason's credit, to Mason's point here. He's not signed yet. It feels like the number keeps going down. Like at one point, I feel like you heard 2 years, 24 for Arise. I felt like at the beginning of the offseason, I was hearing 2 years, 24 million. Then I was hearing like 2 years, 16 million. And then I was hearing like 2 years, 12 million. It feels like the number keeps going down. And maybe that's what the Rangers are waiting for. Hey, can we get him on a 2-year, $8 million deal? Can we get him on a 2-year, $7 million deal? I think there might be a number of teams that are kind of poaching at the end of this offseason and seeing if they can bring in a guy like Arise on the cheap. Maybe Luis gets a little bit desperate, just wants to get his situation figured out, and he takes one of those lesser deals. We'll see what happens. Keep going. Peterson definitely is a streaky bat. Seager's injury prone too, him and Carter. So that's what we're talking about, Duck. I think you're making the point that I am, right? Like, there are a number of guys that are question marks right now. I posted something from Talkin' Jake from John Boy Media. Some of you guys might know him. He was looking at the Rangers, and I think he gave a pretty objective take. He led off his opening statement talking about Talkin' Jake from John Boy Media here about the Rangers. He said, am I going to convince myself? Am I going to talk myself into this team again this year? And of course, the diehards like me, yes, I'm going to figure out a way to talk myself in. And he read off the lineup, and he just said, no, I guess I won't. There's just too many questions at a number of different spots in the lineup. The rotation is good. The pitching is good. He acknowledged that. But he just felt like there were too many question marks in the lineup to really feel great about the Rangers. And I tend to agree. I'm not going to lie. I do feel similar. I think there's a lot of question marks. Jock Peterson, big question mark. Evan Carter, big question mark. Can he stay healthy? And then there's other guys as well. Josh Young, question mark. Josh Smith, can he play a full 162 and play well consistently? Question mark. There's probably half the lineup that you could probably label question mark. And so that is where I hesitate to really get incredibly excited about this team winning a championship or really competing for one in 2026. I think this team has a chance to make the playoffs and possibly to advance out of the wild card round. I can see them maybe winning the division, but, you know, even if you win the division, you still potentially play in that wild card depending on where you're seated. I think it's going to be really tough for the Rangers to win the division and not be in that wild card round based on some of the other juggernaut teams that are around the AL. Prove me wrong, please. But I see the Rangers in the wild card round. I don't feel great about them advancing to the ALCS. I think you could see them play in a divisional series right now. Anything could happen. But if you had to nail down a prediction from me right now, I feel like, yes, they could sneak into the playoffs. I could see them winning a best of 3 wild card round. I'm not sure I can see them getting past the divisional round when they have to face some of the juggernauts of the AL. I think it's going to be tough. That's why I'd love to see them add another bat. Again, I'm happy to eat crow, and I love it when people get on here and give me a hard time for bad takes. There's not many of them, but they do happen every so often. I think that at this point, Rangers look like a team that could sneak into October, maybe make a little bit of noise, but eventually he's going to have to go up against some really good squads. We all know that the pitching gets better in October, and this offense, and couldn't you see this offense losing a 2-1 ball game in October? Jacob deGrom gives you 7 innings, 2 earned runs, and you're facing off against Skubal, or you're facing off against the Blue Jays in their rotation, and their offense is doing some work, and ours is having trouble. That's me right now. I think sneak into October, maybe make some noise in the wild card round. It's going to be tough once you get to the divisional. Mike, you might be onto something here. X factor is Skip. If he finds a way to make the offense some, look out. Amen, brother. Amen. Amen. We keep on rolling. Mace says, feels like the Rangers are in opportunistic mode. If they have an opportunity to get the player, they will. If not, they won't. They do seem like a team that is constantly monitoring the markets. And from that perspective, maybe Arise, the number dips enough where you say, let's bring him in. Let's bring him in. Fromber is a steal right now. Fromber Valdez, I know, is really bringing a lot of questions with the attitude, with the guy, the teammate, with the cross-up situation last year, throw in at his catcher after not being on the same page. Man, I'm not saying that was a good look for Fromber. I'm really not. It does seem a little over dramatic to me that if teams are really not giving him a contract because of that one moment, I don't know. I've seen a lot worse get re-signed or get signed. A lot of guys with more questionable personal lives get brought in. Fromber Valdez clearly made a huge mistake. And you know what? Playing for the Astros, I can't say I'm like a Fromber Valdez apologist or big-time fan, but it definitely is a little odd to me. Again, there's a lot of guys around the league with questionable personal lives. It feels a little weird that Fromber would be getting shut out just for this one incident last year. Now, maybe he's asking for too much, and him and the agent are just holding out all winter long, and it's trench warfare, and they are going to be in it till the bitter end trying to get him the best deal. It would just surprise me if everybody around the league is saying, yeah, we're not signing him because of that one cross-up. I just don't buy it completely. I think there's more to it than that. The one bad moment, again, think about the full context here. And I don't want to get personal and name names, but I'm thinking of several guys right now around baseball with more questionable personal lives than Framber Valdez. Like, if the Rangers signed him, I wouldn't be upset. I don't think they're going to, because I think Framber Valdez probably is wanting a double-digit number. I don't think the Rangers are going to want to pay that. I think Baltimore, Mason, is a spot I've seen too. We'll see. I prefer him to go to an NL team. And at the end of the day, Framber Valdez is a good pitcher. Go to the NL, please. I don't want to have to see him in any capacity. I mean, the bottom line is the dude can get up on that mound and shut you down. It's not that he's the best pitcher in the league, but he is an above average, really good pitcher. Wouldn't mind seeing him go to an NL team. Uncle Ted, I'm with you. He's got some nasty stuff. Again, can we get an NL team interested, please? We keep going here. They're treating Framber like Trevor Bauer. I don't think he's going to get blackballed like Bauer did, but I do think right now it's got to be more than the cross-up. I don't know. I can only put myself in the shoes of other front office execs around the league. If you've got an opportunity to sign a really, really good pitcher in Framber Valdez, who had a bad moment doing the intentional thing with the catcher. I mean, look, heat of the moment. You're in a pressureful environment. Astros at that point were competing for a playoff spot. I just don't see that getting held against you to the point where you're not getting a job. But maybe it is. Maybe it is. Keep on going. Rangers win the World Series this year in over under 5.5 games. Hey, I love the optimism in the question. I really do. I would take the over on that. I know we won it in 5 and 23. If the Rangers are blessed to get back to the World Series, I'm going to go Rangers in 7 or Rangers in 6 over Rangers in 5 or below. We keep going. I'd rather have Gallen than Framber. Hey, man, appreciate the comment, by the way. I think I would too. I think that Zach Gallen had a down year last year, and a lot of people, I think, believe that Gallen is going to get one of those short-term deals with opt-outs. I just can't see the Rangers going out and getting another pitcher. They signed Gomber. You've got a couple other dudes that are getting spring training invites. I find it hard to believe that they are going to go pay big money for a Gallen type or go pay big money for a Framber Valdez. I just don't see it. Would I be a fan of it? Yes. But do I see it happening? No. I think that they are most likely going to round it out with guys that are in the system already or have been given a minor league contract with a spring training invite, or somebody that is maybe really, really cheap, 1-2 year, and very, very low money. I just don't see them going out and getting a Gallen or a Framber. Keep going. How do I think Gore is going to do? Daniel, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. I do think that MacKenzie Gore is going to see his numbers improve. Is he going to become Tarek Skubal? I don't think I see that. But I do think that he can approach Evaldi DeGrom levels. I think approaching Evaldi DeGrom levels is elite pitching, by the way. No shade at DeGrom or Evaldi. I don't think they're Tarek Skubal level, but I do think that they are among the best in the game. And I think that Gore, with the swing and miss stuff that he has, and this is a guy that is one of the most elite pitchers in the game right now, MacKenzie Gore, when it comes to the strikeout, when it comes to the swing and miss. I mean, almost every one of his pitches is swing and miss worthy. It's incredible when you look at some of the numbers when it comes to Gore and missing bats, and I do think he can get close to DeGrom and Evaldi levels. I think you could see a sub-3 ERA. I know a lot of people are predicting mid 3s. I could see MacKenzie Gore high 2s, maybe, 290s, 280s. I don't think it's going to be below that. I could see Gore flirting with a sub 3 ERA. I think that the ballpark's going to help him. The defense is going to help him. I think coming to the Rangers organization and just the pedigree that they have as an organization, as a coaching staff, getting the most, squeezing the most out of pitchers that are external, that come into the organization. I believe in MacKenzie Gore in the season that he is going to have this year. I do think you're going to see him cook in the 3s for sure, in the mid to low 3s, and maybe flirt with the sub 3 ERA. Can he get to 200 strikeouts? That would be fun. That'd be fun. In fact, I was looking up, because of the Yu Darvish stuff. Some of you guys might have seen Yu Darvish and the retirement announcement. Then Yu and his agent kind of backtracked that a little bit. I'm a big Yu Darvish fan, by the way. I loved watching Yu pitch when he was in Ranger red, white, and blue. And I was looking through some of Yu's stats. In 2013, Yu Darvish struck out 277 batters. 277 batters Yu Darvish struck out. That's wild, man. To almost get to 300 Ks. I mean, Yu Darvish, when he came into the league, man, elite stuff. I think MacKenzie Gore can go 200 plus. I don't know if I'm going to put him on Darvish level in 2013, but I think MacKenzie Gore can give you 200 plus strikeouts this year with a couple of things tooled and retweaked. Keep on going. Daniel, yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. What else did I miss here? Lefties, really important to have. Gore will be just fine here. Jay Moore with you on that. Appreciate the comment, man. Comeback year for Young or Carter. If I had to pick one right now, who's more likely to have a good comeback year, Carter or Young? I'm probably leaning Carter. I hate to choose between the two, but I'm probably leaning Carter at this point. I think Evan had a lot of positive signs of life, if you will, in 2025. Before that injury, getting hit by the pitch on the wrist in Kansas City, I think Evan would have had a really solid ending to the year. Because he gets hurt, I think you still walk out of 2025 with a bit of a negative feeling about Evan's season. But I think if he would have actually played out the entire year, you might have seen him really turn it around and start looking more like the player that helped lead the Rangers to the playoffs in 2023 and eventually to a World Series title. But I would probably give Evan the slight nod over the Jungle Cat at this point. Love the Jungle Cat. Got high hopes for him in 2026 as well. But give me Evan Carter on more likely to come back and rebound in 2026. Keep on going. Appreciate you guys. Thank you to everybody that's hanging out. Man, it's been a great offseason so far. We're live every Wednesday, Thursday, by the way. I've been doing Thursdays a little bit more now that NFL is over. That was the thing, doing Thursday nights during the NFL season. Everybody's watching the game, myself included. So we would do Wednesdays, but now that football is kind of drawn to a close, Super Bowl coming up here in a week and a half, we've been going on Thursdays a little bit more. So we'll see what continues. I don't know what I'll do in spring training. We might go live a little bit more frequently. It might still be once a week. We'll just kind of see how interesting it gets and surprise, huh? You never know. Young Truther here, Mike. Yeah, I understand. I like Josh Young a lot. I really do. I think I saw a little bit more promise out of Evan Carter last year, even though he got hurt at the end of the season and was out for the rest of the year. You know, if I'm betting who's going to end with the better year, I think it's going to be EC. We'll see. That could be another name for sure. Absolutely. Rockies being a fire sale. I'm sure the Rangers have made some calls. Antonio, you're still waiting on Arise. And I know you love Luis Arise so much, brother. I feel like it is kind of inevitable. Like, you're going to see that notification at some point. Rangers sign Luis Arise, maybe a 1-year prove-it deal. I think you've got to keep in mind, you know, Skip and Luis go back to the Marlins days. There's probably a pretty strong level of comfort there. I feel like Luis Arise, that notification could absolutely be coming across the screen. It wouldn't shock me at all. Not at all. What are my thoughts on Rocker being traded for a bat? What is his value? Jay Moore, Rocker getting traded eventually wouldn't be anything that would send me over the edge. I will say this. I don't think that this is the best time to trade Kumar. You would be selling a little bit low on him, especially with how 2025 ended. If you did want to trade Kumar Rocker for a bat, maybe let's say at the deadline, maybe there's a big bat at the deadline that you want to throw in there. By the way, just got a notification. Rangers agree on a deal with Cal Quantrill, according to Evan Grant. Cal Quantrill doesn't look like there's any kind of contract or anything like that out there yet, but looks like the Rangers will be further reinforcing their pitching arms, their pitching options. Cal did not have a great year in 2025. Looks like his ERA was over 6, pitching between Miami and Atlanta. It wasn't bad in Miami, 5.50 ERA. Maybe I lied on that. The FIP was 4.61 for all of my baseball stat nerds. In Atlanta, it got pretty messy. Cal has definitely had some good years in the past. You think about when he was with San Diego. You even think about some of the Cleveland years. He had some good numbers, but it's been a second. He has not had a FIP below 460 since 2022. So I think that this is definitely a guy that could be maybe an innings eater if there's some injuries, but that's all I got for you for now. Going back to Rocker, though, I don't think that you trade Rocker now. I do think that you let Rocker improve in 2026, whether that's on the major league team or the minor league team. I think you got to get the stock back up a little bit. Keep going. Yes, sir. Love this hat. I got this as a gift a couple of years ago. I think on Father's Day. I think the shirt and hat was the combo. Like, oh yeah, this is one of my favorites. How good is MacKenzie Gore? Actually a good trade. He was an all-star last year. Dougie, appreciate you, man. He was an all-star last year, and he was up there among the best when it comes to swing and miss. When it comes to the strikeout, I think he is an elite pitcher. I think you got to control the walks. I think playing for a better defense and a slightly better ballpark will be helpful. I don't think that Nationals Park is like a hitter's paradise, but I think Globe Life is definitely going to be a little bit more forgiving for a guy like Gore, who is a bit of a fly ball pitcher at this point in his career. I think the Rangers organization is going to get the most out of it. I am definitely excited about MacKenzie Gore, 100%. Would like to get both Luis and Miguel. Magic Mike, that'd be awesome. If they can figure out a way to bring in Arise and Andujar, that would be incredible. I don't think it's going to happen, but you'd love to have Andujar as a guy that you can throw in there against lefties very, very confidently, and a guy that you can spot start if Langford needs a day, if Evan Carter needs a day, if Nimmo needs a day, you can throw Andujar out there in the outfield. And then Luis Arias, I just feel like, going back to my comment from the middle of the show, just gives you that premium insurance. Anybody in the lineup, any of these young guys struggle, you feel confident you can get Arias in the mix, and he is going to be able to give you quality at bats. He might not be giving you, 25 homers a year, but he's going to be a tough out. He's not going to strike out. He's going to put the ball in play, and that he's going to give you elite situational hitting. So for me, I would love if they could get both those guys. I'm not going to hold my breath, but that'd be phenomenal. Keep on going. What are we at? We are coming to a close here. We're at 54 minutes, doing pretty well. Just a couple other things to look forward to here. So obviously spring training starting up here in about a week and a half, right? Rangers, I got the truck packed to surprise. It's going to be fun actually going through actual games and box scores. Not every game can you watch, but a lot of them you can at least follow along with. I know they always do radio, but I believe February 20th is the big kickoff date, right? So we're roughly about 3 weeks away from actual games kicking off. It's going to be awesome, man. Hey, by the way, if you haven't hit that follow button yet, whether you're on YouTube, Instagram, X, or you're on TikTok, man, hit that follow button. Let's go. We do this every week during the offseason, sometimes more than that if there is a big signing or a trade. But during the season, we're nearly every day, every night after Rangers games, breaking down the game for you, providing a spot to hang out, vent it out, celebrate. It all depends on the night, right? But we're literally almost every day during the season. So I'm excited. Would love to see this community of great baseball fans, great Rangers fans continue to get bigger and bigger. You guys are awesome. I'll take last second questions, comments before we close out the show. You guys have been great today. Hey, 44, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. We got Brian. Hey, man, you caught the tail end, man. Better late than never. I'm just giving you a hard time, brother. Good to see you. Do I see a typical trade deadline this year with the coming lockout? Great question. I think in terms of multi-year guys, it's going to be interesting. I think in terms of half-season rentals, no, it's probably going to be business as usual. But as you know, at the trade deadline, if you can acquire a guy that's going to give you multiple years of control, hey, he's available half a season, but you also get him in 27. I mean, that is usually pretty attractive. But now with the lockout, you might second guess moves where you have that additional year of control. I don't think anybody's going to be batting an eye at getting a half season rental if you're looking to make a World Series push. But in terms of the guys that have that additional year, I think it could get a little bit interesting because you don't know how many months, how many games you're going to play in 2027 with the lockout. I hope they figure it out. I really do. But I think it's going to be interesting in that regard, Brian. I think half-season rentals will be business as usual. But I think beyond that, it could get a little bit fishy. How many wins this year, bro? Redneck, what's good, man? I'm going to go 85. I'm going to go 85 or 86 this year. Not sure the Rangers get to 90. I'd love if they got to 90. I said 90 was going to be a breeze last year. We all know how that worked out. I'm going to say 85, 86, and that's enough to sneak into the playoffs. But I would love to be wrong and they go clear over 90. That'd be phenomenal. It'd be outstanding. We'll keep going. Every team signs a bunch of minors deals with invites this time of year, right? I mean, we did it with Corbin last year. The Rangers signed Patrick Corbin, I think, 2 weeks into spring training. So, yeah, look, Cal Quantrill is not moving the needle for me at this point. Would love for them to get something special out of him, just like we did with Pat Corbin last year. I think we got a very serviceable fifth starter out of Corby. Maybe Cal fills a similar role this year, maybe not. We'll see what happens. Yeah, solid number 8 starter. Ethan, well said, man. That's basically what I said. I don't think Cal is going to be needed unless we just have major crazy injuries. Albert, what's up, man? Yes, I do like the new manager. I think Skip is going to do good things for Texas and Arlington this year. Hey, what's up, guys? I know I missed a few comments. Appreciate you guys. Hey, thanks for the rose. Appreciate you, brother. I don't know if you're still hanging out, but thank you. Appreciate the gifts. Good stuff today. Hey, we are going to start winding things down. We'll be live. Like I said, if any significant move is made, we'll definitely hop on and go live. When the Gore trade happened, we did a whole show on it. So forgive me if I'm not doing the emergency pods for Cal Quantrill. No shade at Cal, but I think we're going to pass on those types. But if the Rangers go out, they get on too hard, they get a rise, they get a big name, 100% we'll be hopping on, doing the emergency pod, bringing you our rapid reaction. But definitely we'll be back Wednesday, Thursday next week, talking through another week of the Rangers off season, go through any new developments. We'll be able to start talking about game results here in a little bit when spring training starts. That's going to be awesome. Mike, always good to see you, man. Always good to see you. Look, it's hard always coming up with a bunch of content in the off season, but combined, in tandem, we always find a way to make it work. The Las Vegas, you're going to go see them play the A's. Hey, Carnage, they ain't my team. Come on now. Come on now. Hey, honestly, it's going to be fun when the Rangers come to my backyard in 2028. For those of y'all that don't know, I live out in Las Vegas. Been out here for 15 years. Grew up in Arlington. Went to Arlington High. Lived there for a long time. But I've been out in Vegas for much of my adult life after college. Great place. Love it out here. But I'm glad Rangers are finally going to be coming to Las Vegas in a few years here. That's going to be great. Absolutely. Yeah, the late inning watch-alongs are absolute fire. Brian, I'm actually really looking forward to it as well. I don't mind this style, but it's fun when you got the game right there and you can get that instant reaction. I love it. I love it. Yeah, Ethan, that's a good point. You don't want to see them do that with Cal, but it's hard, man. It's such a crapshoot sometimes when it comes to these guys that you're signing to minor league deals with the spring training invites. It's so tough. What would I rank as the top 5 teams in the AL? Well, I think you got to throw Boston up there and New York. No particular order here. Boston, New York, Blue Jays, I think, are going to be up there as well. Look, Detroit, obviously they got Skubal. I can't say Detroit scares me a whole lot. I think Rangers probably slot in there somewhere around 6. I think the Mariners I'd probably put ahead of the Rangers right now, if I'm being totally honest, not giving you a straight up homer pick. I think Rangers are probably somewhere around maybe the 7 or 6 spot in the AL. So I think they're slightly on the outside looking in when it comes to the top 5. Look, you got to be in the top 6 to make the playoffs. So let's keep that in mind. But I think the Rangers might be slightly on the outside looking in right now. I hope that they are able to find their stride offensively. A lot of it's going to depend on that. All right, y'all. We are going to go ahead and head off for the night. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday and a good weekend ahead. If I'm just catching you at the tail end of this, I'm sorry. I've always told y'all I wish I could be better getting the word out there when I do these lives. One day I will, I promise. Maybe that's my New Year's resolution, but I sure hope you guys have a great weekend ahead. We'll be back whenever the Rangers make a big signing. Hopefully there's a couple more. I have heard that too. Ethan, Link to Verlander, you and I were talking about that on X. By the way, if you want to keep up with me more throughout the week, follow me on any of the socials, X, Facebook, Threads. I'm on a bunch of those different ones. But yeah, Verlander, I think pitchers are probably going to die down a little bit. I think the Rangers are really shaping up there. I think the bats, maybe you try and get one more. But the roster at this point is really filling out pretty well. You'd love to see one more maybe big name addition, but it's getting late. It's getting late here. Daniel, appreciate the gift, man. Good to see you, brother. I don't know how much you got to catch, but thank you so much. Very generous of you, sir. Means a lot. Yeah, Jay Moore, during the season, it's going to be awesome. It is going to be awesome. Albert, yeah, used to live in DFW. Love it there. Got a lot of good friends back there. Try and make it back every once in a while. But, yeah, out in Vegas for the last probably 15 years or so, man. Anyways, all right, love y'all. Have a good night. And as I always say to end every show, God bless and go Rangers.